Well, I did 13, 14 years as a freelance artist working in advertising and book jackets and games and all that. And so my background is a traditional artist. I can paint with oils, acrylics and airbrush. I did that for many, many, many years. I was actually trained as a technical illustrator, and I've worked ever since I was 18. And then when I started working, I needed a change and worked on the original BBC Walking with Dinosaurs series as a sort of foot in the door, and sort of worked it up from there. But most of the artists that I work with and the senior members of my team, their experiences are very similar. I have an artist that worked on 2000 AD as one of my senior guys. I have a guy that worked as a sort of Disney background artist working on background painting traditionally and stuff. And those skills and that training ground that we used to have that now has been swept aside by computers, is important, and it's being it's being found another way as people use sort of the digital tools. But I don't know, if someone can get a pencil out and really draw, then they can really draw. There's no hiding behind a computer screen or a Photoshop or an undo button. My desk is a swamp of sketch pads and magic markers and pens still now. The quickest way to communicate is to ignore the computer if you need to. Again, it depends on what you're trying to do at the time you're trying to do it. But if it means drawing with a pen, writing with a pencil, gluing some stuff together, whatever, the process is not necessarily the important thing. The result is always the important thing. And people, especially when they're starting off, they think it's all about the process. Look at the way I built this brush or done this thing or whatever. It's all irrelevant. It's the result. That's all that matters. But actually, pretty soon after the idea goes, that's the one. Because I sort of work in the early stages a lot of pre-production before going into physical or VFX production. It's when you have that idea and the director sort of says, that's it, that's the one. And then that's when it spreads out to other art directors, other concept artists, other texture painters, modelers, adding to it. But the core shape, design, theory behind it, it's when everybody kind of goes, yeah, that's the one. Oh, that's great. I want to see that one. That's when you kind of finish noodling. Or I do. And what I mean is someone else may pick up that and continue and add to it or enhance it, and try not to kind of break what everything was, liked about the design. But the process is so broad that again, people join at different sort of stages of the game. And sometimes I'll be involved with, noodling things to the very end. When I was doing Creatures on Edge of Tomorrow, we did nearly 1,000 of the damn things, and you just have to keep going. And really, there was never a that's the one. It's more like, this is kind of close, that's kind of where we are, and then it ended up on screen, and yeah, it's similar to what we did. It wasn't exactly what we did, but again, every film it's slightly different. I think it's very important to people to realise that the process is very fluid. Even though there is a normal path that is very similar, it's still a very fluid process, and no two journeys, as I call them, are ever the same. They can be very broad at the beginning. This is the whole film. Pick a place, go, bring it to life. Or it can be a very specific problem. For example, on World War Z, how do you reinvent a new zombie? And I just led a small team of 2 or 3 people independently working for Mark Foster for 18 months, where we were trying to come up with a zombie that had a number of limitations and restrictions. It was a PG-13 zombie, so we couldn't show any blood. We couldn't kill a person or any of those kind of things in that. And so to me, solving a problem that is very cinematic and remembered, and I remember coming, when I was working with the guys, and we came upon a couple of things. For example, the footage we use of rats leaving a doorway that became the initial versions of the flow of zombies traveling down the streets of Jerusalem. Doing some paintings of those, and we took just 4 black and white paintings to Mark and said, I think we can't give you a zombie, but I think we can give you millions of them doing this. And just to see them go, my God, we've never seen this before, then that's the thing that really inspires me to do this, to the point where, Paramount phone up and go, one of those concepts, the zombies taking the helicopter out of the sky, is the film poster. But that was our concept art. That was the idea that we brought to the table. They rewrote parts of the story in the script to shoehorn some of that stuff in. And so that's the stuff that's exciting, is when you can break off a chunk, but it has such a big visual impact on the movie that it becomes such an important thing. That's really inspiring to do.